Brilliance Audio presents the unabridged recording of A Day at the Office by Matt Dunn, performed by James Clamp. Chapter 1. Sophie Jones clutched her Oyster card tightly in one hand, adjusting her scarf with the other as she made her way automatically along Devonshire Road and towards Harrow-on-the-Hill tube station. She'd made the 40-minute journey to and from her office so often now, she felt she could almost do it with her eyes shut. And had actually tried that once, thanks to one cocktail too many with the girls after work one day, until a loud honking sound from the number 340 bus had warned her she'd strayed off the pavement by mistake. She sighed to herself as she walked, her breath forming clouds in the crisp February morning air, and contemplated another day at the office. So far, her job as a marketing assistant wasn't quite living up to the lofty ambitions she'd set herself back when she'd graduated. And while she wasn't naive enough to believe a 2-2 in business studies meant it was only a matter of time before she'd be declaring herself out from behind a pile of money on Dragon's Den, back then, she truly believed that if she worked hard enough, anything was possible. Sophie smiled wryly as she strode into the station. Perhaps she simply hadn't worked hard enough. Still, she reminded herself as she swiped her way through the barrier, she was only 28. The world was still her oyster. She even had the card to prove it. It wasn't just her career that was getting her down. Since moving to London, she'd been lonely. Not because of a lack of friends. Her colleagues in the office were pleasant enough, and her new boss Julie was, well, if not a friend, at least she was friendly, but because of the lack of a boyfriend. The relationship with Darren, her college sweetheart, whom she'd abandoned when she'd moved from Eastbourne to Harrow, had been okay, but not what she'd wanted. And while she might not have known what it actually was she'd wanted, Sophie had been pretty sure she didn't want Darren, and the traditional stay-at-home and be-a-housewife plans he'd had for her. Which was why 2 years ago, more than a little surprised to have landed the first job she applied for, she'd handed him the keys to their shared bedsit just off the seafront, upped sticks from the sticks, and rented a room in a flat chair here on Devonshire Road. Harrow had sounded exotic to her. Well, more exotic than the Costa Geriatrica, as her friends referred to Eastbourne. And it was London, and multicultural, and on the tube, and full of young people, and next to Harrow-on-the-Hill, the home of Harrow School, and therefore, Sophie had assumed, a little bit posh.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?